Students, today I am going to discuss with the type of gland which is important to maintain our livelihood, the adrenals. Let's see the position. As we know, the kidneys are the retroperitoneal organ that they lies behind the peritoneum. Adrenal glands lies top of it, and they are both retroperitoneal organs. They reside in separate capsule than the kidney. Adrenal gland uh, supplied by the adrenal arteries or suprarenal arteries and drain to the suprarenal vein. Adrenal glands have three layers: the cortex and medulla. The cortex is main 70 to 80% mass of the adrenal gland, and medulla comprises rest of it. Cortex is the total adrenal gland is about 4 to 5 gram in weight. So it is a very tiny gland. The cortex comprises of three layers. One is up behind, below the capsule there is three layers of cortex: zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona reticularis. Then comes the adrenal medulla. Glomerulosa is secreting mineralocorticoids, which is mainly the aldosterone. Zona fasciculata is the widest zone. It is glucocorticoids secreting layer, and it secretes the cortisol. Zona reticularis are the androgen secreting layer, and it secretes the dihydroepiandrosterone and androstenedione and few of the testosterone. Medulla secrete the catecholamines, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and few dopamine. Before knowing the function, the blood flow of the adrenal gland is very necessary. The suprarenal artery in the capsule, it forms the capsular artery. It's a suprarenal, then capsular artery from fenestrated capillaries supply the three zones of cortex. Fenestrated capillaries percolate through the glomerulosa, parallel through the fasciculata, and form the venous network within the reticularis. In the adrenal medulla, cortical capillary drain to the medullary venous sinusoids, which receives the mineralocorticoid. On the other hand, medullary artery travels the cortex without branching and supplies the blood directly to the medulla. Hence, the medulla receives the dual blood supply: venous from the cortical sinusoids and arterial from the medullary arterioles. They are fenestrated arterioles and arteries, so the secretion from the three layers goes directly into the circulation and drains through the medullary vein. This is a more clear picture what I discussed. Aldosterone function. As I mentioned, aldosterone is a mineralocorticoid that it actually maintains the proper plasma concentration of some mineral ions by acting on the nephron, distal tubule, and collecting duct. It stimulates the aldosterone action like sodium deficiency, decrease in the plasma volume like dehydration or hemorrhage, or increase in the potassium ion concentration in the plasma or extracellular fluid. Leads to the decrease in the blood pressure or blood volume. Filtration of the plasma in the nephron deliver less sodium or more potassium to the juxtaglomerular apparatus. As we mentioned, that there is decrease in the plasma concentration of sodium or increase in the plasma concentration of potassium. Juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney release more renin in plasma. The liver protein called the angiotensinogen is converted to angiotensin 1 by renin. This angiotensinogen actually produced by the liver and circulated throughout the circulation. When passing through the lung capillary, the angiotensin converting enzyme convert the angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. The angiotensin converting enzyme is liberated from the endothelium of the lung capillaries. Angiotensin 2 is a potent vasoconstrictor, constrict the arterioles and increase the BP in case of falling blood pressure. It also acts on the adrenal cortex, especially in the zona glomerulosa, and secrete the aldosterone. Aldosterone helps in the reabsorption of sodium to the plasma in the principal or P cells of collecting duct and secretion of the potassium in the urine. Thus, it restoring the normal sodium-potassium balance, the balance in the plasma, as well as the sodium is reabsorbed, water follows, and water is also reabsorbed, and there is increase in the blood volume and restoration of the falling blood pressure. Regulators of aldosterone secretion. As I mentioned, primary regulators are the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone mechanism and plasma concentration of increased potassium or dehydration. These are the primary regulator of the aldosterone secretion. Other factors mainly adrenocorticotropic hormone, that is ACTH, and atrial natriuretic peptide. The stress causes the hypothalamus to respond, which releases CRH, that is corticotropin releasing hormone, to the anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary releases ACTH. ACTH acts on the adrenal cortex to causes the decrease the stress as well as the restoration of blood pressure. If there is increase in the blood pressure or blood volume, there is negative mechanism done by the atrial natriuretic peptide. Atrial natriuretic peptides are the peptides produced by the volume receptors of the atrial myometrium, and then it decreases the blood pressure by inhibiting the aldosterone. Then comes the second hormone, which is cortisol. Cortisol is a glucocorticoid and helps to increase blood glucose level by various mechanisms. It stimulates the neoglucogenesis. What is neoglucogenesis? Neoglucogenesis, the synthesis of glucose from the non-carbohydrate sources like amino acid, glycerol, and lactic acid. It provides raw material for the neoglucogenesis, and it causes breakdown of protein and increase the mobilization of the amino acid. Cortisol also has other major action like it helps to reduce pain. It is an anti-inflammatory and inhibits the immune response by inhibiting the WBC in the blood. Also inhibits the synthesis of antibodies. It increases RBC count but decreases the WBC count except neutrophil. Neutrophil count increases. It increases the BP. It helps in the cope with the stress. It is also known as the stress hormone. Other functions of cortisol decreases the bone formation and increases the bone resorption by decreasing the synthesis of osteoblast. It decreases the connective tissue, and therefore there is thinning of the basement membrane of the many tissues, especially the skin. Inhibitory and inflammatory to immune responses. Maintain the cardiac output, increase the arteriolar tone, decrease the endothelial permeability, thereby increases the blood pressure. Facilitate the maturation of fetus in the uterine life. Increase the glomerular filtration and free water clearance. Modulate the emotional tone and wakefulness. Maintain muscle function, but it decreases the muscle mass by catabolizing the protein to form the amino acids. Cortisol in stress. Stress is a physiological situation or pathological situation when the biological response anyone receives the situation as a threat or major challenge for his physiology, which stimulates the hypothalamus to release corticotropin releasing hormone from hypothalamus to stimulate the anterior pituitary to form the ACTH. ACTH in the circulation goes to stimulate adrenal gland, which releases cortisol. Cortisol in humans, and in rodents it is corticosterone. It helps to increase the blood glucose. Goal is of the cortisol to provide adequate nutrients for ATP synthesis during stress. Actually, it supplies more glucose to the blood, so the brain and the muscle which is acting at that time of stress and get more nutrients than the other body tissue. It reduces protein synthesis to spare ATP, glucose sparing for brain. It supplies the glucose mainly to the brain and skeletal muscle. Cortisol in human causes the lipolysis in adipose tissue, and in the liver helps in the neoglucogenesis and glycogenolysis to increase the blood glucose level. It also decreases the peripheral utilization of glucose other than the muscle and brain tissue and some other important tissue during stress. So there is increase in the brain activity and muscle activity, and the body can cope up with the stress situation very promptly. If there is cortisol excess, the functions of cortisols which are normally done by it is increased. So there is increased metabolism of mobilization of glucose. There is increase in the blood glucose. There might be prone to form the diabetes mellitus. Metabolism of protein, there is catabolism of protein leading to the decrease in the muscle mass. Prevents the inflammation, maybe if there is delayed wound healing. There is neoglucogenesis also, reduce the bone formation. So there might be osteoporosis. Brittle bone, rise in the free amino acid in the blood, electrolyte imbalance, more and more sodium, and so the more and more water in the blood, and there is hypertension, and there is hypokalemia. High gastric acid secretion leading to gastric ulcer. Poor performance due to weakness. The condition is known as Cushing syndrome. These are the constellation of syndrome known as Cushing syndrome. Cushing syndrome, why it is caused? Cushing syndrome is caused by either excessive cortisol like medication like as prednisolone, or tumor that either produces or results in production of excessive cortisol to the adrenal glands. That means increase in the synthesis of cortisol either by adrenal gland itself or due to the ACTH or CRH secretion due to tumor of that area. Causes due to pituitary adenoma, especially if the pituitary adenoma causes more secretion of ACTH and thus more secretion of the cortisol from the adrenal cortex. That particular Cushing syndrome is known as Cushing disease, which is the second most common cause of Cushing syndrome. First being the faulty medication. The cortisol can be used, or the cortisol-like activity drug is used in many conditions. So if there is excessive medication, there might be a predisposition of the Cushing syndrome. A number of other tumors, often referred as ectopic tumors, due to their placement outside the pituitary or adrenal gland, may also cause Cushing syndrome. That means other than the adrenal tumor, other than the pituitary tumor, there might be other tumors also in the body that produces the cortisol and leading to the Cushing syndrome. This disorder is known as multiple endocrine neoplasia type 1. There is a features of Cushing syndrome. There is facial fat distribution, because cortisol not only causes the lipolysis but also causes abnormal distribution of the fat to the different body tissue. Here the facial fat increases leads to moon faces, and there is also a back of the neck, there is increased deposition of the fat known as buffalo hump. There is adult Cushing syndrome where the moon faces and purple striae is seen. So this purple striae of many causes, like the thinning of the blood vessels, as well as the if there is increase in the corticotropin, that is ACTH, that has melanocyte stimulating hormone like action that causes increase in the pigmentation. The opposite is the Addison's disease, where the hyposecretion of the adrenal steroid, both the mineralocorticoid and the glucocorticoid, are decreases due to many causes. There is hypoglycemia, postural hypotension, weight loss, profound fatigue, dehydration, vascular collapse, renal shutdown, increase in the sodium potassium and decrease in the serum sodium. There is GI disturbances, changes in distribution of the body hair. There is bronze pigmentation of the skin. Addison's disease arises from problem within the adrenal gland. Not enough steroid hormone or cortisol or possibly the aldosterone is produced. The developed country, the etiology of Addison's disease is often attributed to autoimmunity to the various organs as well as the adrenal cortex. And the developing countries, it most often the adrenal tuberculosis. Other causes include certain medication, sepsis, that is infection throughout the body, and bleeding into the adrenal gland. Secondary adrenal insufficiency is caused by less ACTH produced by the pituitary gland or CRH produced by the hypothalamus for any reason. Control of cortisol secretion, or there may be a negative feedback mechanism through which cortisol secretion, it is the hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis, is negatively synthesis of cortisol. ACTH is a protein hormone which comes to the adrenal cortex through bloodstream, acts on the cell surface receptor which activate the G protein. G protein is a adenylate cyclase stimulator which stimulate the ATP to cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP now phosphorylates the phosphokinase A. Phosphokinase A now phosphorylates the protein, intracellular protein, to form phosphoprotein. These phosphoproteins are actually the cholesterol esterase, active form. This cholesterol esterase cleaves the lipid droplet present within the adrenal cortical cell to the free cholesterol. This free cholesterol is the precursor of all steroid hormone. Here is the cortisol. This free cholesterol now goes to the mitochondria. Mitochondria have P450 enzyme system located in the inner membrane, which helps in the synthesis of the adrenal hormones. In between the mitochondria and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the shuttling of the intermediates, because both these organelles containing the required enzyme for the hormone synthesis. So after the total hormone synthesis, it is a steroid hormone, that means it is lipid soluble, diffuses out to steroid hormone into the blood and then circulates through the blood to go its target organ. Steps of synthesis of corticosteroid hormone. Main mother compound is the cholesterol. From into different steps, it produced the aldosterone, cortisol and androstenedione, both in the mitochondria and smooth endoplasmic reticulum of the adrenal cortical cells. Mechanism of action of steroid hormone. After synthesis, being a steroid hormone and lipid soluble, it readily passes through the cellular membrane of different target organs and reach to the intracytoplasmic receptor for it. This cytoplasmic receptor and the steroid form the hormone receptor complex. The hormone receptor complex then goes into the nucleus of the target cell, and after the process of transcription and translation, the required amino acids are supplied and there is formation of the induced protein or particular protein which helps in the particular cell response which is needed by that cell. Action of the adrenal androgen. It is a third layer of the adrenal cortex, zona reticularis, which forms the adrenal androgens. The role of DHEA and DHEA sulfate is normal physiology, is not actually clearly defined, but it is actually the weak androgen, have much lower affinity for the androgen receptor than testosterone. You know, testosterone is the main androgen of the human body, but the weak androgen have not so much antigen and receptor propensity for the androgen receptors. Adrenal androgens are converted peripherally to more active testosterone. In males, it is physiologically insignificant compared to amount secreted by the testes. Females, adrenal-derived testosterone is important for maintaining normal pubic and axillary hair. After menopause, adrenal androgen may also be an important source of estradiol, again due to peripheral conversion. Adrenal androgen hypersecretion does not cause any clinical sign in adult male, but detectable in females by signs of hirsutism, that increase in the body hair distribution in the female body, and masculinization to some extent. Adrenal medulla, the second main component, core component of the adrenal gland is the adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla consists of sympathetic nervous tissue. It is a postganglionic sympathetic nerve where the action and dendrons are gone. Only the cell bodies are there, which is known as chromaffin cell. These chromaffin cells are nothing but postganglionic sympathetic neurons, and it receives its supply from the sympathetic system. Function: it releases epinephrine and norepinephrine and some amount of dopamine. Gives the systemic sympathetic effects because the acute stress cases, like in fear, like in threat, or like in injury, there is acute stress. In acute stress cases, it acts immediately, and so that body can cope up with that particular acute stress. It is a fight or flight reaction. There is increase in the heart rate, heart contraction, blood pressure, so the blood supply to the particular tissue can be increased. It dilates airways, so the more air can be introduced into the lungs. Constrict blood vessels of non-essential organs like the GI tract and urinary tract. Slows urination and digestion. It sends blood to the skeletal muscle. It dilates pupil, increases sweating. Comparison between the adrenal medulla and the sympathetic neuron. Here I say that there is adrenal medullary cells or chromaffin cells at the postganglionic sympathetic neuron. So, after sympathetic stimulation, like that of the postganglionic sympathetic fiber, which releases adrenaline to the receptor, the adrenal medullary cell or chromaffin cell also secretes the adrenaline mainly and some of the noradrenaline into the secretion and to its function. Stress and adrenal glands. Stress can be acute or chronic. Adrenal gland cope up with both the acute and chronic stress. Short-term stress responses in the adrenal medulla. When there is acute stress, as I mentioned, the nerve signals go to the intermediolateral gray column of the thoracic segment to secrete, to stimulate the preganglionic fiber of sympathetic nervous system, which then activate the adrenal medulla, where the chromaffin cell releases the adrenaline hormone mainly and some of the noradrenaline. Effects of epinephrine and norepinephrine are glycogen broken down to glucose, increase in the blood glucose, increase in the blood pressure, increase in the breathing rate, increase in the metabolic rate, and change in the blood flow pattern, leading to increased alertness and decrease in the digestive, excretory, and reproductive function and the activity. And the long-term stress response and the adrenal cortex. If there is chronic stress, like the work pressure or any other kind of chronic pressure, that stressful stimuli causes the hypothalamus to activate and adrenal cortex via the hormonal signals. Adrenal cortex secretes the mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoid. Effects of mineralocorticoid: retention of the sodium and water by kidneys, that means increase the blood pressure, increase the blood volume and blood pressure. Effects of glucocorticoid: protein and fats are broken down and converted to glucose, leading to the increased blood sugar and partial suppression of the immune system, and thereby supply the glucose to the brain and activate tissue. Mechanism of action of catecholamines, that is the epinephrine and norepinephrine, or adrenaline or noradrenaline. Epinephrine is a protein hormone, catecholamine hormone, which binds to the cell surface receptor because it cannot cross the cell membrane, and they activate the G protein, and then to the adenylate cyclase is activated. So after that there is increase in the cell responses by activating the protein synthesis of the particular type. In summary, there is 3 areas of the adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla that is summarized in this box. Thank you, students.